The Random Jottings of Donald J. from Nelson in Pendle. Once upon a time, in the small hamlet of Pendle Bridge Burnley, there stood a quaint cottage on Barden Lane. It was a picturesque little dwelling, with a thatched roof and a small garden full of blooming flowers. But despite its charming appearance, the locals avoided the cottage and whispered stories of the strange happenings that occurred within its walls. Legend had it that the cottage was haunted by the ghost of a woman who had been brutally murdered there years ago. The locals believed that her spirit still roamed the premises, seeking revenge on anyone who dared to enter her former home. Despite these rumors, a young couple by the names of Sarah and John decided to rent the cottage for the summer. They were charmed by its rustic beauty and the promise of a peaceful retreat away from the hustle and bustle of city life. Little did they know that they had just sealed their fate. From the moment they moved in, strange things began to happen. Doors creaked open on their own, objects moved inexplicably, and cold spots could be felt throughout the house. The couple tried to brush off these occurrences, chalking them up to old pipes and the wind. But as the days went on, things became more sinister. Sarah began to have vivid nightmares of a woman's face, contorted in rage and pain. John would wake up in the middle of the night, feeling as though someone was watching him from the shadows. They both tried to rationalize their fears, but deep down, they knew that something was terribly wrong. One evening, as they sat down for dinner, they heard a blood-curdling scream coming from the attic. Sarah's heart raced as she remembered the stories of the murdered woman's ghost. But John, ever the skeptic, went to investigate. As he climbed the stairs, the temperature dropped and the air grew thick with a sense of dread. When he reached the attic, he found nothing out of the ordinary. But as he turned to leave, he felt a cold hand grab his shoulder. He spun around to face an apparition of a woman, her eyes ablaze with anger. John stumbled back in terror, and the ghostly figure disappeared into thin air. From that moment on, the couple knew that they could not stay in the cottage any longer. They packed their bags and fled, never looking back. Years later, the cottage still stands on Barden Lane, but no one dares to enter its walls. The ghost of the murdered woman still haunts its halls, seeking vengeance on anyone who dares to cross her path. The locals whisper of the cottage's dark past, warning anyone who will listen to stay away from its doors. And so, the cottage remains a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurk within the shadows. By Donald J.